Hello and welcome to our Facebook Live and
Instagram Live. Hi everybody, good to see all of you tonight.
Now my name is Jana Wolf. I'm the registered dietitian and director of nutrition at the Comprehensive Obesity Management Program, and thank you so much for joining us. We are going to be doing a very special Thanksgiving episode today.
Super excited, guys. In case you don't know who I am already, my name is Michael Salomon. I am the sleeved chef. The one and only. So we are doing Thanksgiving this episode. I love Thanksgiving. It is my favorite time of the year, especially my favorite food holiday. As a bariatric patient, as a sleeved patient, Thanksgiving can be really challenging. So what our goal here tonight is to relieve some of that stress that you may have circulating around eating during Thanksgiving. We are going to be making a delicious cauliflower stuffing. It's just one more fun use of the cauliflower that may not necessarily be thinking of.
Right. And this is basically the definition of savory. So we're going to be having something a little bit sweet, a little bit salty, a little bit rounded.
Exactly.
And you can actually enjoy it pretty much in an, I don't love to say unlimited, but it is all non-starchy veggies and a little bit of nuts.
Absolutely,
so
yeah.
It's very low in carbs. Now, the fun thing that we're doing is an actual taste test of the Trader Joe's cauliflower mix and then our cauliflower stuffing. So we're going to actually do a blind taste test to see which one is better. And I'm going to be talking through some of the nutrition facts about each one and some of the benefits and the pros and cons between the two types of dishes that we're making tonight.
Definitely, guys. So we have all of our stuff prepped, all of our food prepped ahead of time. So we've got a beautiful little plate here. We've got our diced celery, diced carrot, minced onion. We've got our pecans. Keep in mind, if you have any sort of allergy to nuts, you can always omit them. Then we have our rosemary, thyme, sage, and some sliced oregano as well. So what we're going to start off doing first to prep here is we're going to start off with our cauliflower, our beautiful head of cauliflower here. We're going to start by breaking this down and then showing you how to actually rice this using a simple RoboCube.
All right, and I just want to welcome Tracy, and I want to welcome everyone that's listening and watching, and please feel free to send in any questions through the Facebook Live.
Of course, yeah, we are all about questions, guys.
It doesn't even have to do with Thanksgiving, okay? So, and I also, someone mentioned today, one of the patients actually mentioned today, that not only could we do a cauliflower stuffing, but you can use some of the lower carb breads for stuffing as well.
Sure, yeah, that's a great idea.
So, if some people just have an aversion to cauliflower, or if it doesn't sit well in your stomach because it's a little bit of a gassy vegetable, you can certainly use something like a thin, slim, zero carb bread. But I will say that you will get a lot of vitamins and minerals out of the cauliflower. You've got fiber, vitamin C, potassium, phytonutrients like antioxidants, okay? That white color isn't just a white color. It gives you actual health benefits, right?
Absolutely, yeah, great point.
Yeah. So what are we doing here?
So what we're doing, guys, as you can see, is I'm very quietly breaking down the head of cauliflower. As I'm turning it, you can see where the florets are here. So you'll see, here's the base of the cauliflower where the stems are. You would really want these top florets. You don't want as much stem as you do the floret itself.
And I do want to mention, for those that are a little more lazy than the sleeve chef, you can use the freshly prepared chopped up cauliflower, the rice cauliflower that you can get in the fresh section. Or you can even get the frozen one. I've been finding that microwaving the frozen cauliflower rice and then squeezing out the extra fluid is one of the best ways to do it, because then it's not watery in any way.
Exactly. Yeah, you really want to dry this out, especially when you're starting with a frozen product, because you want that dryness to absorb all that moisture that's going to be in the pan itself.
Right. And we're going to be doing a lot on the stovetop today.
Absolutely.
But if you want that crispy, crunchy on the top, you can always broil the top of it.
Great point. Yep. I would also note that when you broil it, I would suggest keeping it on the middle shelf, only because it's going to go, once it really starts to brown, it's going to go from being just right to burnt very quickly, especially if you're on that top shelf. So go on the middle shelf, because you're broiling, the heat's coming from up top, as opposed to traditional convection oven where the heat's circulating. You want to make sure you're on that middle shelf to give yourself even more time.
Yeah, we don't want to ruin Thanksgiving.
Exactly.
So, and I want to welcome Melissa, Monica, Chris. Hello, Chris.
Yes,
Brenda,
thank you so much for joining us,
Laura.
guys.
Thank you guys so much. And you know, a lot of times, this time of the year is very difficult because we are going to a lot of parties. We
Absolutely.
are having a lot of family get-togethers. We do have food pushers, right?
We do.
People that
Yes,
want you
we
to
do.
eat your whole plate and try the cake.
They
and try
are
this.
out there, friends.
So, yes, I have a few cousins. And by the way, you can say no to some of those foods if you're satisfied. Also, I do recommend before Thanksgiving dinner happens, don't save all of your calories. Don't save all of your calories until dinner. Have a breakfast, have a lunch, and make it well balanced, and exercise so you can feel good about enjoying
absolutely.
your meal.
And the other thing I really like to focus on too, guys, is really hitting those proteins, right? Really sort of learning to navigate that table to be able to figure out, okay, what can I have? So let me see. So I've got the turkey. It's much more preferred to use the breasts, the breast of the turkey, to have that as opposed to the dark meat, as you're gonna have it's gonna be a bit more calorically rich and a bit healthier for you.
Yes.
And then you can also focus on those vegetables as well. You know, a little bit of stuffing, depending on where you are in the process. You know, Jenny can talk about that a bit. You know, if you're a month out, 2 months out, again, sort of when you should start introducing those carbohydrates back in.
So basically, you should be starch-free for the first 6 months after surgery. And the reason that we say 6 months as a number is because you're basically the first 6 months is what we call the honeymoon period. And with that honeymoon period, you want to maximize your weight losses. And you also want to get in enough protein. You're not able to eat enough. So you want to get in enough protein and not everything else. And we do have a question.
Yes, we have somebody that asked, you mentioned using a ricer. Could you also cook this with smaller chopped florets rather than rice?
Yes. And
Absolutely.
you can honestly do whatever you want. You can make this with broccoli if you wanted
Sure.
to, or zucchini, or like the zero carb bread.
Right.
So it's really your preference. Like right now, for instance, Michael's doing it very finely. So
Yep.
I personally like very finely chopped cauliflower rice, but you know, in the store it comes a little bit thicker, and then if you make it yourself, you know, it can vary. So
Right.
yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. So here's what we're
Okay.
doing with this one, guys. We're going to start off with it being really, really fine. As you can see here, what I've done is I've basically taken those cauliflower florets and I've sent them through my RoboQ here and just chopped them up. And it's sort of a ricing method. Traditionally, if you think ricing, you think of like ricing mashed potatoes, for example, where you'll boil them, put them into a ricer for like a mashed potato, and then you'll turn it. The old school ricers, you'll turn it, and it'll create that sort of riced texture where
Yeah.
it looks like rice. But in this particular application, we're using just a RoboQ with a simple blade, a food processor with a simple blade, to get that smaller, finer product that'll, again, will absorb a bit of it.
And I went out to a restaurant recently, and they had riced cauliflower, and they
Oh, nice.
made it very fine like
Yep.
this, and it really kind of, my favorite word, zooped up.
Ooh,
I
zooped
know.
up.
All of the
Like it.
sauces. They did a fried cauliflower rice.
You're really
and-
zooping up this experience for me,
Oh,
Jenna. I'll take it in, yeah.
So it does give more of a rich flavor
Sure.
because you'll have more sauce kind of embedded into the
Absolutely.
finer cut.
So what I'm going to do here, really glad that person, who brought up that question about ricing?
Yeah, that was Tracy.
So Tracy, that's a great question. So what I'm going to do here, it's a great segue actually. Thanks,
Yeah.
Tracy. So what I'm going to do here is we're going to finely rice a part of it, but then I'm going to roughly chop the remainder.
Oh, cool.
So we're going to have a nice little texture difference there
Nice.
as well. So it'll be more of a traditional stuffing. So we'll start off by sauteing our onions.
If you could smell this, you would be very happy. This is very good. And we have a little mirepoix going, right?
Exactly. So we have a traditional mirepoix.
Which
So a traditional
is-
mirepoix, which is 50% onion, 25% carrot, and 25% celery. You'll see that in classic French cuisine for sauces, stocks, soups, etc.
Nice.
We really want to just saute these. Very little to no color here as well.
It
A
looks
little more
beautiful.
fat to the pan. Yeah, it smells great.
And thank you, Ashley, Joe, Sarah, Sean, and Christina for joining us.
Thank you so much for joining us, guys. So we're just doing this over a medium heat as well, everybody. That's the other key thing to note here as well. The really nice, simple medium heat. We don't want to go too hot to start off with, only because you don't want to burn those onions. Because if you burn the onions, start over. you can't. It's really hard to come back from it because that flavor will stay in the pan and will affect
Is it
everything
more like
else.
bitter?
Exactly. It's much more bitter.
Yeah. And we have a very special guest today online, Summer, our nurse practitioner.
Hey, hi
Hello.
Summer. How are you? Thank you
So-
for tuning in.
I have to say that Summer is one of the queens of cauliflower rice because she makes a mushroom risotto.
All right. I like
and
it.
I've tried it. It's beautiful. And she uses essentially a can of low-fat cream of mushroom soup.
Oh, cool. Summer,
Yeah.
you'll have to come on.
Yes. All right. Thank you, Christina.
Oh, also one more thing important to note here, guys, too. I love using a shorter, wider pan for this particular application.
I noticed that.
Yeah, because what's nice about this is it allows us to really cover as much surface area as possible, and it cooks all the vegetables a bit more evenly as well, which I love.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
And just as a side note, with Thanksgiving coming up, you can do one of two things. You can basically, or you could do one of three things. You can basically go all out, have what you want, overfill yourself. You could do all starch free.
Sure.
Okay, you can do your cauliflower stuffing. You could do butternut squash, sugar-free cranberry sauce, your turkey, obviously.
Absolutely.
And then any other non-starchy veggies.
Sure.
Okay, or you can meet yourself somewhere in the middle.
Right. That's
All
what I
right?
usually like to do.
Yes, you can have balanced meals all throughout the day, right? You can come to the meal not as hungry, but ready to eat, but
Sure.
not starving.
Right.
Doing it, and I think that you can meet yourself somewhere in the middle with these.
I think,
these
for
meals.
me, I love Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving will always be one of my favorite holidays.
Yes.
I love the experience of bringing all the family together, surrounding the table. Everybody's cooking. It's just a really fun experience. And for me, that was really one of my major concerns pre-surgery was, what am I going to do during the holiday season? How am I going to handle being around food with such a food-centric holiday? And one of the things that really helped me was this idea, as Jana was saying, of sort of meeting yourself in the middle and saying, okay, I'm going to have, depending on how far out you are, I had my surgery September 16th of September 2nd of 2016.
Oh, so you were right in the beginning.
Oh,
yeah.
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 So it was tough. I had a little bit of turkey, and that was pretty much it. I had some turkey. I had some spinach. I actually made myself a Thanksgiving turkey burger, which we did last year. That had dried cranberries and a lot of those same sort of flavor profiles that you're used to: sage, thyme, all these beautiful flavor, rosemary. That works out really well. So I decided to sort of make Thanksgiving my own.
Right.
So that's what the advice I would give for you, to everybody out there, is to make Thanksgiving your own. So be able to have some turkey breast. Maybe, if you want to depending on how far out you are, have a little bit of mashed potatoes, have a little bit. Like Jana said, it's about meeting yourself in the middle. It's
Right,
great,
and not
great piece
beating
of
yourself
advice.
up. There's no shame in having a small bite of something.
That's exactly.
However, if you do find yourself spiraling and you're having leftovers and you're having more and more leftovers, then we need to take it back
Sure,
a bit.
right.
There have been studies done about the weight that is gained during the holiday season is the weight that stays on for years to come.
Huh, that's
so it's harder to get
That
off.
explains it.
Yeah,
Now, I knew.
obviously. So I just want to say hello to Christina, Tracy, Mary Jo.
Hi, everybody.
And Mary Jo is making this for sure.
Oh,
which
awesome.
Is
Great,
great
Mary Jo.
news. And Kelly, we miss you as well. Why don't you visit the office? Maylinda, and yes, Mary Jo, it's nice to have delicious food to look forward to and
Yes,
healthy.
agreed.
Yeah, so it looks like everything's sizzling up. It looks great.
Yeah.
I want to mention, we are going to be looking also at the Trader Joe's stuffing. So this is the rice cauliflower stuffing from Trader Joe's. It's a great product, and we're going to be taste testing both of them, okay? Now, the issue is, and it's not really an issue, because this is always a better choice than nothing, they do add 2 types of sugar to this, maple syrup and cane syrup. So you do want to make sure that you don't go overboard with this, because it still does have sugar in it. And they do add dried cranberries, which adds an element of sugar as well.
Exactly.
It has about 8 grams total of sugar, and I usually recommend about 5 grams or less of sugar, okay?
Yep.
So with any product. And, but, small amount of calories, 60 calories, no fat, so that's always good. All right? So,
Yeah, guys. So we've got our onions in our pan first. We're going to saute those for about a minute and a half, 2 minutes until they're nice and translucent. Then we're going to add in our onions and our carrots next. Again, for about another 2.5 minutes as well. Let's keep an eye on that, doing that over medium heat. And then finally, we add our cauliflower in next. So we add our riced cauliflower in next. And then I'm going to go over here and do a little rough chop on our remaining florets and then add those in. Okay. So we're really sort of building this flavor.
Yes, it's going to be deep and rich.
Exactly.
That's what I love. So what is your favorite Thanksgiving dish?
Ooh, that's a good question. Oh, man.
And feel free to tell us your favorite Thanksgiving dishes as well.
Yes, that's a great question for the audience, too. Mine is my grandmother's cranberry bread.
Aww.
That is it was really, Christmas, we did Thanksgiving every year at my grandmother's up in Pennsylvania. And it was just there's a lot of where my love of cooking came from, a lot of where my love of Thanksgiving and having everybody around the table came from. It was such a beautiful experience. And that cranberry bread, she would get up early in the morning and she would make everything from scratch. And it was just great to see somebody sort of pour themselves into a dish, into an experience, and just build that. And her cranberry bread was out of this world good.
That's beautiful.
Thank you. So that's mine. What's everybody else's?
Yeah. Well, I think that you could probably guess mine is stuffing.
Oh yeah.
Okay, Melinda, favorite dish is sweet potatoes.
Yes.
Stuffing, pumpkin pie.
Yum.
You know what the
pumpkin
good
pie.
thing about pumpkin pie is that you can take canned pumpkin that is basically, just pumpkin.
Yep.
Doesn't have any sweeteners or anything in it, and you can make a sugar-free version of pumpkin pie.
And that's a great point. Real quick too. We started to touch on it a bit, but it's so Jana always brings this up, and I love this. Read your labels. If it says fat-free, if it's
Doesn't matter.
Please read your labels, guys. It's so important.
Yeah.
I made that mistake when I had when I was first starting out, and I did the popsicles, and I was just like, oh, they're sugar free. I can have a couple of them, a bunch of them, and it was just.
And it's just like the calories do add
Yeah,
up.
absolutely.
And I think also we have to remember that a lot of companies, food companies, they use these lines like low fat, sugar free, fat free, whatever, to market the actual product so you'll buy it. What they're not doing is giving you every single detail about how much actual sugar is in there, what the ingredients are, how many calories there are.
Yep.
They're not telling you all of that on the outside.
Understanding those labels and reading those serving sizes, they're
makes a difference.
so critical.
Yeah, and of course you guys know that you can always take pictures of any of the supplement labels or the nutrition labels, and you can just send them to me, and I'll give you an explanation of why we don't recommend them or we do recommend them.
All right,
And,
so here's our little rough chop, guys. Just wanted to show this to you real quick here.
Yeah, let's
So this
see.
is really what we're looking for. Again, it's sort of a nice rough chopped. You'll see there's some
About an
larger
inch.
pieces. Yeah, yep.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to add these guys in. Give it a little bit more texture.
And we have some other favorites, mashed potatoes and gravy,
Oh,
stuffing, and sweet
yeah.
potatoes. Now, like I said, the nice thing about all of these is that there are replacements in case you can live with the replacements. Like mashed potatoes, we have the cauliflower mash. Sweet potatoes, we have butternut squash, or really any type of squash. And let's see, we have an interesting, so Melissa, she writes, I make pumpkin fluff. It's a can of pumpkin, scoop of protein powder, package of sugar-free vanilla pudding, Cool Whip, and pumpkin pie spice.
There you
I
go.
love it. It sounds
Perfect.
amazing. Bring some in.
But where do you find pumpkin pie spice this time of year? Anywhere.
Anywhere.
7-Eleven.
Anywhere. Okay. Well, thank you, Melissa. That's awesome.
That is fantastic.
Yeah. And I will tell you that the one that we're making, so the cauliflower that we're making versus the Trader Joe's, the carbs vary slightly. Ours is lower in carbs, okay? And but in terms of like the nutrition content of it, it's basically the same. A little bit more fat in ours, but it's healthier fats from olive oils.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, guys, so we've got our rough chopped cauliflower going in our pan now. As you can see,
All right.
that's sauteing away.
All right, and let's see. Okay, And then if anyone is doing any other substitutions, like Melissa said, any other ideas that you have that we haven't touched on, please let us know, because it can really help other patients
Absolutely.
as well.
And then also too, guys, if there's any questions, any show ideas you want to throw our way, or like, hey, we'd love to see a show on this, we'd love to see a show on that.
Very helpful.
What could we do? What can we do? What can we do to really help you, and really sort of make this whole entire process easier and more exciting for you,
Right,
to really
'cause
help you achieve your goals.
Exactly. We're not doing this for us. We're doing it for you. So let us know what you want. And is pumpkin okay for starch-free? I was thinking that, but wanted to double check. Absolutely. So pumpkin is okay.
And why is pumpkin okay for starch-free?
So it does have a little bit of a higher carb content, but the way that it digests in the body is much different than something like a potato or a sweet potato. So yes, you're going to get some carbs from that, okay? And
Yeah.
we shouldn't be scared of those carbs from non-starchy veggies
So
and from
important.
fruit.
Agreed.
Yeah. I had one of my favorite patients today say, well, I've been scared of fruit. So what do we say to that? Fruit never made you gain weight,
Right.
okay? Fruit is not what we should be focusing on. It's a distraction. Okay.
Not
All
today,
right.
fruit. Not today.
And yes, so Kelly was asking if we could do the pumpkin fluff recipe. Yes, I'll talk to Melissa about that. And air fryer oven show, we could do that.
There you go.
Yeah, that's a good one. All right, and any other questions you have are welcome. So we use, what kind of nuts do we use for this?
So we use pecans for
Okay.
this, or pecans, depending on who
Pecans,
you are, where
pecans.
you're from. So you guys, you can always put a different nut in if you prefer, if you prefer cashews, walnuts, etc., or you can simply omit them.
Right.
Right. Again, that's truly up, solely up to you. That's what's nice about this, is that we're building it, right? So we had our onion first, we had our celery and our carrots next, and we had our riced cauliflower, then we had our we had our rough chopped cauliflower behind that, and we finally add our nuts in. So you're really sort of building that flavor profile.
All right, and thank you, Melissa, for rewriting that recipe. Thank you. And what's interesting about looking at the two of these is that they look very different, okay? So this one is a thicker chop, like the one that you would find in a bag of frozen riced
Yep.
cauliflower.
Yeah, this is much more of like a small dice, I'd say.
Yes.
Let me hold this up and show the audience.
Yeah.
So notice the difference here, guys, right? Between my ricing versus a traditional store brand ricing, this is much more uniform, number one. So you could tell that they obviously had it sent through and purposely have it more uniform.
Right.
Versus mine is more, rustic, if you will, and that the fact that it's actually a bit more rough chopped. So that's a rough chop as opposed to like a small dice is what you see here. Each has its own application. This particular store brand, I think, is going to be really sort of interesting. Again, like Janice said, you might see this and you go, oh, well, this looks great. This looks super healthy. And it is, but there are some sugars inside of here
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
And it's really important, again, to read those labels.
Yeah, and there's going to be, like, in the carbs and the sugars, there's going to be natural sugars from the cauliflower and the carrots themselves. But if you ever see any added sugars, like on this food label in the ingredients, one of the first things that jumps out to me is maple syrup, dried cranberries, and cane sugar. So obviously there are some added sugars in there, but again, it's a really great substitute if you can't make this.
Absolutely.
Or if you just want this as a side dish one day.
Absolutely.
Especially for leftovers, if you have a ton of turkey left
Well,
over.
yeah.
Why not pair it with that?
Or I'll really even throw it in there for you guys and do a little turkey wrap. Take a little bit of the stuffing, a nice low carb whole wheat tortilla, that beautiful turkey breast. Wrap that bad boy up and take
Yep.
that for lunch.
And I will recommend
Yum, yum, yum.
if you are not on so for the first 6 months, remember we're doing no starches, and after that, if you want to incorporate about 2 to 3 starches per week, that's okay. But if you find that you're kind of spiraling and going back to old habits, you don't have to do that. And you can limit yourself to a smaller portion, like 1 starch a week. Whole wheat wraps are starches, so
Yep.
just to clear that
Right.
up.
Yep, exactly.
However, we have tried other wraps on this show.
We have.
We've tried coconut wraps. There's also the no better wraps. Okay, there's the outer aisle cauliflower flats. So there's other things that you can use for a wrap substitute if you're not quite there yet. Okay. And what's in the stuffing, the ingredients are, actually, can you talk about the herbs that you just put in?
Sure, I would. Be happy to. So
Yeah.
we went ahead and added some herbs in, guys. So the ingredients for the stuffing, so we started off with our minced white onion, a yellow onion rather. Then we added some carrot and some celery as well. And then we sauteed that, and then we added in our riced cauliflower. Sauteed that for about another 2 minutes, and then added in our rough chopped cauliflower behind that. And then finally, let that saute again for about another 2 minutes or so before finally adding our pecans, and then finally adding in our fresh herbs. So our fresh herbs are rosemary, thyme, sage, and oregano. And then we're finally going to add just some a bit more parsley to finish this dish off.
And do not skip out on those fresh herbs.
No.
They are what make the dish.
And in this particular dish, fresh herbs are, to me, are really key.
Right.
You don't want to add them too early. You want to add them about a minute. You really want to add those fresh herbs about a minute to 2 minutes before you're ready to serve.
So they'll stay bright.
Exactly.
Their flavor will stay intact. And I just wanted to thank Marika and Brittany for joining us. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys. A little fresh parsley here to finish.
Okay, good.
This looks fantastic. Alrighty. A little bit more salt, a little bit more pepper, and we'll be all set.
Okay. All right, and I want to thank everyone for giving us their ideas, their substitutions.
Yes, thank you so much,
If anyone
guys.
that's just joining us has any other ideas for substitutions, my family makes this sweet potato casserole with the marshmallows on top. I love it. My husband hates it. If you want to do something with a butternut squash, some cinnamon,
Sure.
and really grind it up into a mash, and then put some sugar-free marshmallows on top, that's a great option.
And absolutely, that's a great
Yeah.
point. And the other thing too, guys, is that reach out to us on the comp page as well. Jana, myself,
Yeah.
just the comp page as a whole. It's a very welcome space for you to share. Hey, I'm not sure about this. I'm not sure about that. I'm really struggling with Thanksgiving. What can I do? It's a really open forum. You're never alone in this journey, guys. Never, ever, ever. There's so much
Yeah.
support on that comp page.
And do remember that you have access to me as a dietitian. You can come once a month if you want to. You just have to call up and make an appointment with me in a one-on-one. Now, you can also do, on Tuesdays at 1 o'clock, we're now having group sessions post-op.
Ooh.
So I know that there's been concerns because it's in the middle of the day, but for now, that's what we're doing. We're going to be talking about some options with some call-in lines, etc. But right now, we're going to be doing just the group session support group format on Tuesday at 1 o'clock. Okay?
All
All
right.
right. Okay, this looks good. This looks
This
like
looks- right?
this looks
Look at
like
these.
stuffing
Right?
to me.
That's the idea.
That's the
Yeah,
point, I
here we go,
guess.
guys. Check these out. Look at these beauties.
I will say that the homemade one looks a little bit more like stuffing. It's a little more believable, so that's always a good thing.
Exactly. Right?
I will also say that this is more of a fruity smell because of the cranberries, and this is more of a savory,
Yep.
rich smell.
Yep.
Okay,
All right. Grab some plates here. I
And,
think we'll start plating.
awesome. And Kelly was asking about a good substitute for the crust of the pumpkin pie. And actually, if you go back into our episodes, we have done crusts before. You can look at almond flour or coconut
Yes.
flour as a substitute for just regular flour. Okay?
Absolutely.
And there are great recipes online. We don't want to use coconut and almond flour all the time just
Yep.
because it has a lot of fat in it.
Yep. Keep an eye on those fats.
But in general, it's a really good substitute. Okay.
All right.
And then I was also talking today just about baked apples with cinnamon and then some Cool Whip on top.
Apples have some, especially when you bake them. When you bake an apple, you're basically evaporating the water, and you're really concentrating those sugars in the apples
Yeah,
themselves.
it's gorgeous.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
It is delicious. I love
Yeah.
baked apples.
Yeah.
And you're not adding any sugar to them.
Right.
Right? Think about it that way. That's really the key here is you're not adding any additional sugar. You're really relying on that natural sugar that already exists
Yeah.
in the apple themselves.
And if you just love a sweet sugary taste like I do, you can always add Splenda or Truvia or
Yep.
stevia. Okay.
All right. Let's get our blind taste testers up here, shall we?
Okay, so we have some special guests today. Our marketing and production folks. They're going to help us to taste test our different products. Now, we are doing a blind taste test. We actually have blindfolds. So I'm going to invite Tyler and Mike up.
Come on up there, friends.
Come on up. All right, it's time.
It's time. There, Mike. Your blindfold, sir.
Okay. Your blindfold as well. And well, I guess
Trying to figure out how to.
it's going to be a matter of we might have to feed you.
Yeah. I'm going to do that way.
Well, I think if you put the plate, I can do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So this one's first.
Yep.
Okay.
And here is your spoon.
Yes.
Okay.
That's really good.
Okay.
All right. Take that.
Okay,
plate
we'll
from you.
take that.
Yeah, please take it.
And there you are, Mike.
And
Here's your
essentially
spoon
what we
there.
want to know is which one you like better.
Which one am I tasting here?
No, you're not supposed to know. It's a blind
I mean, I'm
taste.
sorry,
Blind tasting, right?
I do have something on there, right?
Yes. Yep.
So I have. Yeah,
You're
that's
good.
kind of a.
You're good.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. All right. That's the first one. Grab that. Grab that spoon. Here you go. And all
Okay.
right. Grab this. Here's your plate. And here's your spoon,
And
sir.
there's no wrong answer.
Which one or two? In a second here.
Hot. Like the first one.
Okay.
I had to agree. I like the first one a little bit better.
All
Maybe a
right.
bit heavy on the pepper.
Okay.
Okay, you can take your
Take-
blindfold.
Take your blindfolds off.
All right.
I liked
And-
it. I liked it all.
Oh,
And
it's good. I'm just.
this was one.
We have
This
the winner.
was two. Thank you,
Yeah.
thank you, there, friends. We ended up making a little bit of a better product than our store-bought
Yeah.
brand,
I'm
guys.
sorry, Trader
Hey,
Joe's.
sorry, guys.
Oh, so this is, which one was the
This
is
was
you.
theirs. This was me.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
was
Oh,
me.
wow.
This was
Yeah.
them.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, essentially, you have a choice. You can either make your own. It's a little bit more work. You might get a better product, which is great.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mike.
Yeah. Welcome. Welcome. Thank you.
Or if you want to do it on your own with Trader Joe's, that's fine as well. It doesn't matter. What does matter is that you enjoy Thanksgiving, you have a great time with family and friends, you don't beat yourself up for overeating because it is just one meal, and you make sure that you feed yourself during the day so you come to Thanksgiving prepared to eat a well-balanced meal.
I also like the consistency of the first one.
Oh, thank
Okay,
you.
yeah.
Because the Trader Joe's one was a little bit more like just chopped.
Yes.
I like the blended.
Oh, great. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
I
Did we
think that
touch on
that's a better.
alcohol in the holidays?
No, we didn't.
You know, in terms of.
Well-
I know it's lighter.
There it
and so
is.
forth. Yeah.
Yeah, so
That's
for the
big.
first year after surgery, we don't recommend
Nope.
any alcohol, and after that, we recommend very limited amounts.
Sure.
And because we don't recommend any sugar or carbonation for life, it makes it a little bit more limited. And also, remember, one drink feels like 3 drinks, so please drink responsibly if you do drink after surgery. And I will say that there are plenty of sugar-free mocktails out there that are perfectly fine. You can give yourself a limit of how much you want to drink. I would limit it to 1 drink over the course of time and make sure that you stay hydrated. Okay?
Very, very important.
Thank you guys
Again,
so much.
thank you so much, Mike.
Yeah,
Thank you
it
so
was
much,
good.
Tyler, as always.
Yeah, this was fun.
Yeah, definitely, guys.
All right.
Definitely. Thank you very much to WMER2 for use of their beautiful studios. We much appreciated our good friend Mike Marin here helping us out.
Yeah.
And thank you very much to GBMC and their marketing department and Tyler for coming out.
Thank
and,
you.
Taking photos.
Yeah, taking
Mindy,
some
of course.
photos and getting us online. And Mindy, of course. There was a birthday girl in the house. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Mindy.
So once again, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. As always, my wonderful
Yes.
co-host, Jana.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, everybody. And happy Thanksgiving to you. And we will see you again soon.